Hey guys, Gemini doing more replay analysis. This one was submitted by Smeky. He's a Diamonds player, and his description was not sure if you should be looking at something specific. Maybe just ignore this like at the beginning. I'm losing almost every game PvP PvZ just because of late game unit composition and positioning. I have no idea what to do, so I would love some explanation and advices in the replay. Okay. So, first off, your opening was fine, nothing crazy. You notice that he went Dark Templar, like you see that he actually went Dark Templar, and yet you still go Immortal first, which is odd. You should always be getting Observer first if you see the Dark Shrine itself. You can't be going Blink or anything, so there's no reason to be getting the Immortal first. If you were doing the Oracle into Robo and you see him going Blink, then yeah, you do need to get the Immortal first. That's the correct response. But you see him going Dark Templar, so you need to get the Observer out first. So the DT should do absolutely nothing here, but it ends up getting a few kills, which is not very good. That didn't seem. Oh, it got some down here as well. Yeah, that DT should do nothing. Should do absolutely nothing. So you go into this game. Mid-game, losing a few probes you should not really have, but on even footing. Now the first thing, this is really important in PvP. The moment that you know it's going to be a macro game, it's not going to be one base versus one base or one base versus two base, you need to drop down a forge. So important. You need to drop down a forge. The thing that separates lower level players and high level players in PvP macro is their forge timings. It's huge. This was, or an example, like if you're Diamond and you're playing against a Masters player and you go into macro game, they will almost 100% of the time have a forge down earlier than you. And it's just because you don't actually need units earlier on in PvP if you know it's going to be a macro game. So you can cut a lot of units and you can get a faster forge for faster upgrades. So many PvPs are determined by how fast you get your forge now, and it's extremely important. Hero struggled with this for so long. Holy fuck, it was so frustrating being a Hero fan in like late 2013, 2014. Oh my god, he would never get an early forge ever, no matter what happened, no matter what the scenario. He would wait. It would take him so long to think that he's safe enough to get a forge, and every time he would be like a whole upgrade down by the time they were doing any sort of mid-game attacks. Like, it's so important that you get an earlier forge. So the moment that I realize that it's going to be a macro game, I throw down a forge immediately. Extremely important. Like, never mind. He even goes double forge, which is honestly, that's a little weird. Going double forge is that's awkward. And even after seeing double forge, this should really invoke some response out of you. You don't even make a single forge for a really long time. You're going to be extremely far behind in upgrades now. Only now do you get a single forge. If you see a double forge, you need to go double forge yourself. You can't fall behind in upgrades like that. It's very, very difficult to come back when you are down this far in upgrades. So if ever you see double forge in PvP, you need to respond with your own double forge. And if you see a forge down, and you don't have yours, you need to be like, oh fuck, I forgot my forge. I'm gonna be down a whole upgrade now. I gotta get my forge down right the fuck now, and not 2 minutes later, which is what you did. So you always want to be ahead in upgrades. Like, being ahead one upgrade in PvP fight is very crucial. Like that will turn fights for you. So you always should be thinking like, I want to get that upgrade advantage. Like, that's really good to be like +2 versus +1 or +3 versus +2. Like, that's really cool. That's a really good situation. I want to try to do that. So I gotta make sure I get my forge really early. So hopefully that will push you to do that more. 3 sentries this early is a little weird. Usually you get 1 or 2 earlier on in the very early build to scout. Getting 3 sentries this late is quite odd. And it cuts into your gas a lot. But since you didn't make them really at all early, you kind of have a gas bank anyway, so I guess it's not the biggest deal in this situation. Another thing to do versus Robo or Dark Templar openers is if you open Stargate, get a Phoenix or 2, because they're almost always going to try to do this kind of shit where they do Warp Prism harassment right after the initial DT. This one's kind of late, but usually they do it actually right afterwards, like with the first Robo. They don't even get an observer sometimes, and then they just go back and forth. So if you open Stargate, you should always get a Phoenix or 2 to deny this Warp Prism. Makes dealing with this shit so much easier. Oh shit, this is also huge. Like you lose so much shit to this. You need cannons as well. That's the other reason you should be getting an earlier forge, especially versus Dark Templar macro openings. You need a cannon in each mineral line, because he's gonna keep warping Dark Templar, and he doesn't just make one. That's it. He's gonna keep fucking making them, because that's all they know how to do. I'm just kidding. So not only does this catch you off guard when you're moving out, you just don't have anything to do with it at all. You only have 1 observer. No, you have 2. I lied. Which is good that you have 1 with your army, but you need detection in your mineral lines, because he's gonna keep going for those. So you lose so many workers this entire game to this shit. Only just now do you start doing it when you realize, oh wait, he's got TTs. I don't even think you make one in your main. Maybe you do, but he does. He just can't. He targets it. Targeted it down. So I guess you think you're kind of forced into an all-in position now. I think you did see that his army is kind of small though, so that's good that you can recognize that. That's not good. I think you should. The more optimal thing to do would be to realize that they're in there earlier, so that you can surround the cannon with the probe so they can't get to it. I don't think attacking them would have done anything, but also it's good to get like 2 cannons per mineral line. Even like they're gonna do this shit where they just target it, so you kind of have to make a few, but just don't go crazy. But if you get the Phoenixes to deny the Warp Prism, you won't even have to deal with this. And then this fight happens, which starts off pretty good. Like you get all these zealots. Oh, this Mothership Core. Oh, that's terrible. That's really bad, losing Mothership Core like that. I would say losing that's you moving back. You can't continue this attack anymore. Way too risky. Especially in overcharge range. No. Not happening. So you get the... if you just... Oh my god. If you just didn't miss that force field, that was a canceled Nexus. That was a dead Nexus if you didn't miss that force field. That's unfortunate. At this point, you should definitely be moving back. Once you lose your sentry, if you notice he has charge and you don't have any zealots, but you do have some sentries to force field, so it keeps your life for a little bit. If you have charge and he doesn't, and you don't have any zealots, you're fucked. You have to run back. Like charge outs are way better than you think they are in low numbers in this kind of a situation. Like you think they're not good, but they're actually really good. You have to move back if you don't have anything to soak up that damage. Otherwise, your shit just dies like this. So you had to back up way earlier. This is also why losing the Mothership Core is a reason why you need to back up earlier so that this doesn't happen. So if you had your Mothership Core in this position, you could just recall back, and it would be not that great or not that bad. But now you just kind of lose everything, which is really bad. At this point, I would say you lost, but he doesn't know how to capitalize on a one battle, so he just kind of stays in it. For no good reason. I apologize if I'm not excited this game, because I just did 3 of these beforehand and my voice is kind of shot and I'm very tired, as it is 1:50 in the morning. So I apologize if I sound rather dry. Again, this would be killed if you had a couple Phoenix here. Wouldn't have to use so many Stalkers. Oh, this is also a big thing I noticed. You make a lot of Stalkers Stalkers are terrible in PvP. I'll just say that. Stalkers are really bad in late game PvP. Past 10 minutes, stalkers are trash. Unless, like, if it goes into a macro game, you should never build a stalker, ever. They are not worth at all. Earlier on, it's fine if you open blink or whatever, like, fine. But once you know it's going to macro game, you should never make a stalker, ever. Only in very rare situations do you actually need stalkers in PvP. This should, all that gas, so much wasted gas into something that'll just die to charge lots in Immortals. Stalkers do nothing. They do oh my god, they provide so little to the actual army in a PvP fight. All of this gas could be put towards other upgrades, other Colossi, other Immortals, other Archons, other tech. And all the minerals goes into Zealots. Oh, these stalkers are so worthless in this fight. Like, this army is terrible. Like, I look at this and I fucking laugh if I see this in one of my PvPs. Like, this, I look at this army and just be like, I can attack this with anything and I win. Except for the same thing. So this just kind of drags on a lot. You get Storm, which isn't good either. Like, the one tech you do get, it's a very odd one. The only time you ever want Storm in PvP is if you open for Charge Lot Archon initially, and then they're also doing Charge Lot Archon, because Storm doesn't do much against a Colossus army, because they have so much health. It doesn't really do anything. The Storm is meant to kill off the Zealots and the Immortals' shields, and then they drop really quickly. It doesn't really do that for Colossus. The only other reason you do it besides that kind of opener is even if they do go Colossus, the only other way you do Storm openers is if you do Storm drops to punish that. Because if they go Colossus and you get one Storm drop off, it's so expensive to make Colossus consistently and to expand as well. So if you get one good Storm drop off, you basically wipe out half their mineral income, and they're suddenly forced to all-in you, because they can't really macro out of that. So that's the only other spot that Storm is good in PvP, even if they don't go Charge Lot Archon. So going Storm in this position doesn't do you anything, because he doesn't even make Zealots. Like, he has very little Zealots. He makes a lot of fucking Colossus. This should be put towards a second Robo for a double Colossus production, or for another Stargate and a Fleet Beacon for double Tempest production, which is so unfortunate that this will not actually be a thing anymore. You can't really go Colossus or Tempest in PvP anymore because of that dumb nerf that they just put in. They only do plus 15 instead of 30 to massive units. So you need twice. I'm pretty sure you need 10 Tempests now to one-shot a Colossus, which is retarded. Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, late game, like PvP in general, finally got to a point where it was very interesting and cool and fun and stable. And there was you didn't only have to go mass Colossus every time. Now just put it back. Oh, I'm so rust over that. Okay, I'm not gonna rant over that, but that's not the point of this video. So really, it should be extra Colossus. From this point on, like, from this replay, it would be better to go Tempest, but from now on, with the patch, it's better to go more Colossus, like the boring old days. So that Storm tech should be going into Colossus. It's not going to do anything for you this game. Should also be going into Archons and Immortals. Archons are way more better. I keep saying this, way more better. They're just much better in the army composition of PvP. Zealots, Colossus, Immortals, Archons, 1 Sentry for Guardian Shield, and Hallucination Scouts, and that's it. Boom, chicka boom, chicka boom, boom, boom. You keep going on and on, because he doesn't actually ever attack you. These are the kind of PvP players that I love playing against, because I'll lose to something stupid early on, but they won't actually realize that they've won, and then I just end up coming back because I make Tempest. And they don't, because they just sit on their fucking ass, making 4 Robos worth of Colossus, and not a single Tempest. and then I just win. So this is still a very winnable game. But you have so many fucking stalkers. What is your fucking obsession with this fucking trash unit? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm kidding, but like, what, like, honestly, like, oh shit, what did I just fucking press? God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. Like, what is, I'm honestly confused as to why you are making so many stalkers. Like, this does you nothing. This makes your army just terrible. This many stalkers is so bad this late in the game. They do nothing. They do 0 damage. They die to everything. And they're just bad. They're just terrible. And now you're just losing shit. So you talk about not knowing what unit composition. This is definitely not the unit composition. Stalkers, completely cut them. Make all zealots and archons and colossus. Stalkers are absolutely worthless. And then, once you finally do take a fight, even though it's not a good one, you need to spread out. You just stay in one nice big ball. Half your shit is attacking buildings, and the other half is actually attacking his army. This army needs to be in this position, not in this position. This isn't doing you anything. This is getting you stuck in a really awkward choke point. This is where you're getting yourself a good engagement by having a nice large concave. You attacking up this doesn't do anything. Like, if you want to harass him and poke at him, then do it by going over here and killing the mineral line. Don't do it by trying to walk just straight up the fucking ramp with his army right there. That's just going to get you caught in this awkward position like it does. If you want to actually attack the army, you need to spread out. You need to bring this army down, you need to spread it out and get, like, make sure everything's just, like, in a concave. And then you go in for it. But instead, you just go butt fucking head on. Just giant fucking clump ass shit right into his fucking army. Even though it looks like at first it's gonna go your way, it still doesn't. Also, this entire time you should be warping in zealots. Huge zealot warping. Just rapid fire that shit. Should be coming in and should be coming to reinforce all this. Because all he has are these colossus. The only thing he has are these colossus. Where's the berserkers? Okay, he has one with the army. Something else that's fun to do if you notice they don't have berserkers, it's just mass flood DTs after engagement. Oh my fucking god, it's the funniest thing in the world. But since his army is a huge amount of colossus, like he started with 10, that's too much. That makes the ground army weaker. So the ground army dies really fast, which as you can see it does. Like he only has a couple things left on the ground except for the colossus. So the ground army dies really quickly, so then your reinforcement comes in, your reinforcement wave comes in from the pylon, and then you actually kill the colossus even though you have more of them. Even though he has more of them, you kill them quicker because the zealots wrap around them really quickly. But that's not the case because you don't actually warp any fucking unit thing. I'm sorry if I'm very vulgar right now, I'm very tired. So there should be a warp in much earlier, and then when you finally do warp in, you warp in more stalkers. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are these things doing? What purpose do these stalkers serve? They don't even have blank. Like, fuck. Stalkers are so bad. Stalkers are so bad in PvP. Never make them past 10 minutes or so. So yeah. How do I sum up this game? Wow. So make sure you get earlier forges, and if at any point you notice you can go double forge, do it. Make sure to get at least 2 robos worth of colossus if you're going for a colossus tech route. Spend all the money that you put in stalkers into archons, upgrades, and other tech that aren't called stalkers, and make sure to spread out in your engagements. And also just try to put a war prism in there or something, get some harassment done. That's always fun and nice to do. But the other things are definitely more important. So hopefully that answered enough. Sorry if I was quite tired, so that was an interesting replay analysis, but hopefully that was helpful. So thanks for watching it.